Mr. Cook is a nationwide leading practitioner on broker, dealer, and market regulation. We welcome you this morning as well, and we'll start with Chairman Gensler.
Good morning, Chairwoman Stabenow, Ranking Member Roberts, and members of the committee. Thank you for inviting me here to talk about the swaps markets reforms. I also want to comment on LIBOR and the recent events related to Peregrine. The Commission has made significant progress in implementing Congress's common sense rules of the road, bringing transparency to and lowering risk of the swaps market. 4 years after the fact and 2 years after the passage of the Dodd Frank Act, Americans are still struggling from the worst economic crisis experienced since the Great Depression. 8 million Americans lost their jobs, millions of families lost their homes, and thousands of businesses shuttered. With 35 rules completed, we're increasingly moving from the rule writing process to the implementation of reforms, and I look forward to discussing that with this committee. And Ranking Member Roberts' questions, very good questions, I want to go through. Light will begin, though, to shine on the swaps market this fall when, yes, around October, swaps price and volume information will be publicly reported for the first time in real time. Regulators will get their first full window into these markets. Swap dealers will begin to register provisionally at first to come under comprehensive regulation, and aggregate spot month position limits will apply to both futures and swaps. We look forward to completing other swaps markets reforms this year, including those related to determining swaps must be cleared and pre-trade transparency to promote competition. And as we finalize cross-border guidance, we will recall the lessons of past crises. Financial transactions executed offshore by U.S. financial institutions often send risk right back here to our shores. It was true in the London and Cayman Island affiliates of AIG, of Lehman Brothers, of Citigroup, of Bear Stearns, and a decade earlier, long-term capital management, all with affiliates in London and Cayman Islands crashing back here. The recent events of J.P. Morgan Chase, again, why do they call it the London Whale? Executed in the London branch, again, a stark reminder. The LIBOR index at the center of the capital markets for both borrowing and derivatives contracts is but another example of our globally interconnected financial system. Hundreds of trillions of dollars of derivatives transactions here and abroad are based on LIBOR. People taking out small business loans, credit cards, mortgages, often in the fine print, there's a reference to this variable rate called LIBOR, as well as big companies doing complex transactions. What do they rely on? The honesty of this benchmark. Banks must not attempt to influence LIBOR or other of its sister rates like Euribor, and they can't do it if they're concerned about their reputation, and they can't do it if they're concerned about their profitability. It's just wrong and against the law. So, if these key benchmarks are based on observable transactions, borrowers and lenders and derivatives users around the globe benefit, but if these key benchmarks are not based on honest submissions, we all lose. Before I close, I'd like to just review the recent events at Peregrine. On July 10th, the CFTC filed a federal action alleging $200 million fraud and misappropriation of customer funds. The firm's owner was arrested and charged criminally. Simply put, the evidence alleged in these cases is that Mr. Wassendorf embezzled millions of dollars, manufactured phony bank statements, forged signatures, and created fake bank addresses. The charges against him are that he took customers' funds right out of the bank and lied about it for years. Peregrine's a Futures Commission merchant registered at the CFTC. The National Futures Association, the self-regulatory organization responsible for frontline oversight of Peregrine, is required to conduct periodic audits of Peregrine. In addition, there's got to be an annual review by an independent CPA. Just like the police cannot prevent all bank robberies, market regulators cannot prevent all financial fraud. Having said that, the system failed to protect Peregrine's customers, and we all must do better. The Commission has been actively working to improve protections of customer funds. We finalized 4 separate critical rules in this regard. We also worked with the National Futures Association and futures industry over these last 7 or 8 months and finalized last week rules that are new common sense rules to protect customers. But the CFTC has been implementing also significant restructuring our oversight of intermediaries. We've hired new leadership of this division and stood up a new examination group 9 months ago. Looking forward, though, I believe it's critical that we further update our rules, giving regulators direct electronic access to all bank accounts and custodial accounts. Now, we don't yet know the full facts of the circumstances, but we are committed at the CFTC to conduct a full review of the CFTC's and the self-regulatory functions, examination and audit oversight of futures commission merchants, looking openly for further improvements. We must do that. We must do everything within our authorities and resources to strengthen our oversight programs and the protection of customer funds, and I look forward to taking your questions.
Mr. Cook, welcome.
Thank you, Chairman.